I know you? You look awfully familiar, but I can't seem to place the face. Oh, wait, you're that guy that used to make those videos on YouTube. Yeah, what was the name again? G Sharp Jams. That's right. Yeah, it's me. I'm back. And I know it's been a long time, probably close to about a year since you've seen me here on YouTube. If you're familiar with my channel or not, let me just go back a little bit. Last time I was on here, I told you that I just started a career in real estate. So that's kept me very, very busy over the last several months. But now everything's together there. I've got my client base together. Things are rolling now. So I've got time now to get back into making these videos and sharing my thoughts and my ideas and my experiences with you, my subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber yet, if you like what you see here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Last time we spoke, I told you that I was going to be redoing my studio and upgrading some of the things that I have. And that's what I've been doing for the last year, is basically just completely revamping my studio upstairs in my home studio. And I got a lot of new pieces, got a lot of new ideas. I've come up with some concepts that I'm going to be sharing with you as well. But today we're going to be talking about the audio interface from Universal Audio, and in particular, the Apollo Twin X. Now, there are several models that are out there, but I'm going to focus on this one solely because that's the one that I picked up. And I'm going to get into why I picked that one up and what my experience has been now over the last several months with it and how I feel about it and how strongly I recommend this piece of gear. Now, there are a ton of videos out here on YouTube that talk about the Apollo interfaces, so I'm not going to get into the details of what they do and how they do it and why they do it. I'm going to talk more about my experience with it to give you a better idea of what you can expect if you were to pick this up. And again, I strongly suggest, if you're in the market for an audio interface, take a look at this. As the title of this video says, UAD Apollo interfaces, the best in the industry? The answer to that is a very simple yes. Now remember, I've been doing this for quite some time. I've been doing audio engineering now for about 30 years, and I've used most of the interfaces that are out there, either in my own personal studio, in my professional recording studio that I had back in Brooklyn, New York, or in visiting other studios in the New York area and surrounding areas. So I've worked with RME, I've worked with Focusrite, I've worked with Solid State Logic, I've worked with Focus, the tons and tons of different audio interfaces that I've worked with over that many years. Let me tell you something. When I first decided, okay, the first piece of gear that I'm going to upgrade is my audio interface, because right now I was using a Focusrite, I said, let me take a look at all this talk that's going on about these UAD interfaces. Are they really that good? I mean, I've read all this stuff. I've seen the stuff on YouTube and all these guys on there talking about the interface and everything that it can do. And I was like, all right, you know what? Let me give this thing a shot. So I went on reverb.com and I found the Apollo Twin X that this guy had, that he was selling for $400. I said, for $400, I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, I'll just sell it again and make a decision otherwise. Well, it arrived in the mail, opened up the box, hooked everything up to my system upstairs, plugged the microphone into the thing, and let me tell you something. Within the first 60 seconds, and that is not an exaggeration, within the first 60 seconds, nothing major going on, didn't have my full system running with a bunch of tracks going through my door. It was just me and a microphone speaking into this thing and recording the track as it was going along. Instantly, what I heard blew my mind. And I mean instantly, within the first 60 seconds. Now, again, I've worked with a lot of audio interfaces. My ears have been trained to know what I'm going to get out of them depending on what I put into them. And I know that a very simple vocal, my ears have been trained. Okay, this is what you should hear, G Sharp. This is what you should hear. But when I plugged that microphone into that Apollo interface and just said A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and kept going, I was like, whoa. You want to talk about clarity. You want to talk about something crystal clear and in your face. This thing was amazing. And again, I know I've said it over and over, but this was just within the first 60 seconds. I says, no wonder people rave about this thing so much. It was incredible what I was hearing just listening to me and my lousy voice trying to sing ABC. Unbelievable. So with that, I went a step further and I plugged my guitar into it. And I started playing the guitar, and I can't even explain to you just how crystal clear and in your face this thing was. Now, like I said before, I've used Focusrite and I've used RME personally in my own studios. First things first, I want to say this, that Focusrite and RME make terrific products. There's nothing wrong with them at all. I used the Focusrite for the last 3 years upstairs in my studio. Before that, I was using an RME. I was very happy with the RME, very happy, but I had some technical issues with it and ended up getting rid of it. Nothing that was RME's fault. It was all on me. I'll be the first one to admit that, but I ended up getting rid of it, and I lowered down to the Focusrite. But now with the RME, and if you read some of the reviews about RME interfaces, you'll hear people say that it is so clear, it's boring. What you put in is what you get out. There's no coloration, there's no nothing. It is just a straightforward audio interface. And it's been described as boringly clear. Okay? If you can picture in your mind what boringly clear sounds like, that's what an RME sounds like. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all, because you don't have to worry about coloration that audio interfaces can give you within the sound that you're trying to produce and other things that can happen with an audio interface. That was the problem with the RME for me. It was a little, I hate to use the words that other people use, but it was a little bit boring. It's a great piece of equipment. No doubt about it. One of the best in the industry. Great piece of equipment. But to me, got to agree with people, it was just boringly clean. The Focusrite, I downgraded from an RME to the Focusrite because let's face it, Focusrite is not RME. They're a great company. But I said, you know what, I'm not going to spend that much money on an audio interface right now. I hear some good things about the Focusrite. Let me go ahead and try it. Bought the Focusrite and I was happy with it. I was very happy with it. No, I was fine. But now with the upgrade, I said, I've got to find something that is equal to or better than that RME, and it is that UAD audio interface, hands down. What makes this thing so crystal clear? I have no idea what they do, but the engineers over there clearly know what they're doing, because this thing was just mind-blowing. Aside from that, the biggest point that sold me on that interface was the fact that it is advertised as having near zero latency. Now, as a guitar player, zero latency, if I can achieve that, is huge. Because when you're sitting there with a microphone in front of an acoustic guitar and you're playing, and there's a slight delay between the drum pattern that's playing and the rhythm that you're trying to play on the guitar, and you're hearing it back in your ears, and everything sounds a bit delayed, it is the most annoying thing in the world. And you got to go into your computer system and you got to start adjusting buffer sizes, adjusting this, adjusting that. Who wants to spend time doing all that? And that's what I was getting with the Focusrite, but I had gotten so used to it that I would go in there, and sometimes, it will save the settings, obviously, but sometimes when you start a new project, you have to make minor tweaks. I don't want to spend 5-10 minutes doing that. With the Apollo Twin, I didn't have to do that at all. When they say near zero latency, they're very serious about it. And I can tell you this much, and I know it's literally impossible to get absolute zero latency. But from my ears and what I was hearing, the latency was so low, it was insignificant. No tweaking of buffer sizes, none of that. It was just plug and play and let's go. And here, oh yeah, this sounds good. I'm happy man. Happy man. That was the biggest selling point for me. And it worked out perfectly because it is exactly as it is advertised. It is near zero latency. The other thing about the UAD audio interfaces that really caught my eye were the software that comes with it. It comes with a ton of software as far as VST plugins. You've got an emulation of the solid state Logic 4000E. You have emulations of the Fairchild 660 and 670. You've got emulations of Manley preamps and the Manley Verimu and things of that nature. It is loaded with those plugins already. Now, let me tell you something. Again, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I've been doing this for a long time. Like I said a little bit earlier, I've been doing this for 30 years. When I left my studio some 10 years ago and then got back into this whole audio engineering and studio recording thing, I was used to using hardware. There was no such thing as a plugin back then. Every piece of equipment that I had in my studio was hardware. From the preamps to the compressors to the reverbs to the EQs, whatever it was, everything was a piece of hardware. There was no such thing as a plugin back then, way back in the dinosaur days. So I got back into this game, and I'm looking at plugins. I'm like, what's a plugin? I had to re-educate myself on what plugins were. So I got a bunch of plugins along with some hardware that I had, and I started working with them, and I was happy with them. I didn't realize just how much I was missing by not taking advantage of getting the plugins that come with this UADApollo. And if they don't come with the Apollo, they do sell them separately. And you can get them on sale at some really good prices sometimes. They're a bit pricey, but let me tell you something. They are well worth the price. The Fairchild 670 emulation that they have, boom, blew my mind. Blew my mind. I've never owned a Fairchild. They're a very, very expensive piece of equipment. I've worked with a Fairchild. I've never owned one, but I worked with one in another studio in Manhattan, back in New York. And I remember the experience that I had. It was like, this thing is incredible. It is so thick and it is so meaty and it just glues everything together. And I was like, wow, if ever the day comes around where I got 30 grand to plunk down to buy one of these, I'm definitely going to buy one. Well, fast forward 30 years later, and I've got this plug-in that I'm skeptical about because I'm like, nothing's going to sound like, there's no way that anything's going to sound that good. Well, boy, was I wrong. The Fairchild plugin from Universal Audio, of course, it's not going to be exactly like the hardware, but when I tell you, when I listened to it, it took me back in time 30 years, and I was like, I can't believe what I'm listening to. This thing is so good. The solid state Logic 4000E plugin that they have is so good. They have a Manley preamp in there. It is so good. Everything that they make is so good. If you haven't purchased one yet and you're thinking about buying an audio interface, let me tell you, take a serious look at the UADApollos. Now, I am going to turn around and sell the Apollo Twin that I have upstairs, not because I don't like it, but because I want to get something with a little bit more DSP in it, because that one only has 2 core in it. I want something with at least 4 core or 6 core, which is the DSP basically. DSP is the processing unit that gives this thing the power that it has, especially for those unison preamps. You plug your microphone into the audio interface, and the DSP chips within the audio interface take over the power from your computer. Well, I shouldn't say take over. They leave the computer alone so that it's not your system isn't getting hogged up by what you're trying to do. And these DSP chips are actually running the show for you. So your computer's running on its own power and the audio interface is running on its own power instead of the audio interface taking up power from your computer's CPU. That's huge, especially when you're running a whole lot of tracks. Now, normally I only run maybe 12 tracks for anything that I'm creating. Sometimes I'll go up to 16, but just knowing that I'm not putting that extra strain on my computer is huge. Not only does it do that, but I guess that might be what helps this thing sound so good. I don't know that for certain, but something in there is making this thing sound just like a professional recording studio. Like you just walked into a $100 an hour recording studio. I kid you not. That's how good this thing sounds. For my little recording studio that I have upstairs that I work out from home, I have a few clients every now and then, but mostly it's just my own stuff at this point in time. For me, to go out and I'll spend probably about $1,700 for what I want to get for the audio interface from UAD. That's probably what it's going to run me. They do go up as high as about $3,800, but let me tell you something. You get what you pay for. We all know that. If you want to get a $600 audio interface, be my guest. When you plug it in and you hear the results, keep in mind, I got what I paid for. It's going to work. It's definitely going to work. It's just not going to sound as good as a $1,600 audio interface. You get what you pay for. And I will be more than happy to pay that kind of money for the universal audio interface that I'm looking at, because it's just that good. Switching gears. As I said in the beginning of the video, there are going to be a lot of changes to this channel. I've got a lot in store. I've got a lot coming up that's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit off the wall. We're going to have some fun with it as well. Let me give you a bit of a hint. First of all, I'm going to be having merchandise available. Now, you hear the word merchandise, you think hats, he's got t-shirts, he's got coffee mugs. That's what everybody's doing. Yeah, now he's jumping in that game too. No, that is not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about studio gear. I've been busy over the last year. I've hooked up with some manufacturers here in the United States and in China, and I'm getting ready to get these things manufactured, and I'm talking about gear. Now, I'm not talking about hardware, not to say that I won't get into that, and I'm not going to spoil it yet. But when it's done and when it's ready, I'll present it here on the channel. That's where we're going. The G Sharp Jams line of gear for musicians is coming. The second thing, something that I'm playing with now, is probably going to be ready in about a week or two. It's not going to take me long. I've already started the project. Just something fun to mess around with and just do something a little different here on the channel, something different from what other people are doing on YouTube. I've put together a digital comic book. Now, I know you're saying, a comic book. What in the world do I need a comic book for? Again, just to have some fun. Yes, it's all going to be centered around working in a studio. And the main character is going to be G Sharp Jams, me. And I'm going to be going over, just like I'm going over things here with you on this channel now, except instead of looking at me and my ugly face on this camera, you'll be looking at a digital flip book of a comic book. Just a little something different every now and then, not all the time, just to change things up a little bit. The information's going to be the same. It's all going to be good information. It's going to be insightful information, but we're going to have fun with it. That's number 2. Numbers 3, 4, and 5, not even going to mention them yet. I'm just giving you a little sprinkling of what's to come. There will be some big changes here on the channel. Another thing, finally, I keep getting emails. I keep getting the messages in my message box. Gee, when are you going to buy a video camera? And I've always said, listen, I'm not a video maker. I make records. That's what I do. I'm not a video maker. I don't want to be a video maker. I know I'm on YouTube. I use my iPhone, my Android rather, to make these videos. That's why it looks so small on your screen. It's not full screen. I'm not trying to spend that money. Or let me say I wasn't trying to spend that money, but I've gotten so many requests. Gee, please, just go out and buy a video camera. So I'm going to go out and buy a video camera, okay? So now for everybody who's tired of looking at this little tiny screen on their television, now you're going to get the full screen. So always thinking about you, keeping you in mind. What you want is what keeps me here, because that's what keeps you watching. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and buy a video camera, and probably not the next video, because I do intend to get back to putting these videos out at least once a week. But within the next 3 or 4 videos that you see, by about the 3rd or 4th video, you're going to see a nice big full screen on your television. or on your phone or wherever it is that you watch. I don't know, wherever you watch it. But anyway, those are the things that we've got coming up. It's going to be a big, big, big difference from what you've seen here on this channel. I'm excited about it. I want you to get excited about it. I want you to keep watching. I want you to tell your friends. I want you to tell your neighbors. I want you to tell your dog. I want you to tell your pet fish. Everybody, tell them, watch this channel. Keep watching. I appreciate that you have stuck with me all this time in my absence. I've been watching my subscriber numbers, and I thought they would decrease. And the fact of the matter is, people are still watching the older videos, and they're subscribing. That's a great thing. That's a great thing, because without you, there's no reason for me to be here. You know that I love what I do. I don't get any endorsements for anything. I don't get paid for anything. I don't get any free equipment for mentioning products on this channel. Nothing. I do this because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy sharing my ideas with you and my experiences and my thoughts and my opinions. That's why I do this. So until next time, next week, and I will be back. There will be no more gaps like there was just now. I will be back next week with another video. Until then, everyone, stay safe, stay cool. It was 100 degrees out here yesterday, and it has been blistering hot for the past 2 weeks here in North Carolina. Stay safe, stay cool, keep recording, keep being creative, do what you do, have fun with it, and I'll see you next week.